Alright, guys, as usual, I'm talking out of my heart. I'm a mess right now. My hair is disgusting. I've been crying very hot tears. I'm still shaken up by all this wake up call and this truth that has been given to me with the people I'm working. And it just makes you wonder. And what makes us come to this point in our life and where we live as a society. And it shakes your car up because I just don't know how we got up to this point. It's fucking, and I think, and I'm guessing it's the inaction and the fear of so many things that made us go to where we are today, you know? So to put you in context, I'm working with those two amazing and beautiful young teachers. They're about the 30s. And they work with us during the weekend so they can have some money also in their pockets. And we're working together, and then we got this beautiful conversation for about an hour. And, you know, I live in Montreal. We live in Quebec, Canada, for those who know us. And it's considered a quite developed country, right? We're well off, right? You wouldn't think that we're a third country where people are just in the street or dying. And even in California, right, there's so many people in the streets living off. So what is a third world country and what is, and what is considered a wealthy country and what's not, right? Because there's so much, I'm not here to talk political, obviously, but there's so much corruption, there's so much things happening in the world, and we just don't know where to be given our time and our money and our help and our donations. It's just a real round of effed up things, guys, you know? Anyway, coming back to my story before I just tear away, we were just talking openly, and they work in a, so coming after the fact that we're in a well-off country, we're considered quite a developed country. We're in Quebec, one of the provinces of Canada, and the school they are going to, they're teaching at, it's been about 5 to 10 years they've been teaching at. It's how should that a school from the age of 9 to 11 years old school. I forgot how you call that. How do you call that, babe? Une école primaire.
Elementary.
In elementary school, there we go. And they are considered to be a very poor school for a poor neighborhood. This neighborhood is about, I would say 20 minutes from where I live. My place is not exceptionally luxurious, obviously, but it's a good neighborhood, right? People can purchase a house, have a good life whatsoever. So it's about 20 minutes from there. It's in Longueuil, for those who knows. And they have about 20 students per their class, and they take care of them, obviously. And I'm not here as well to tell how a parent should educate their kids, how a family should be at home, but there's a lot of issues, and it comes to the point that often the kids gonna come and they're really coming from a poor family. Once again, I'm repeating from what I'm understanding. Poor conditions. I don't know what's poor, right? It depends what's you're poor-minded, poor in terms of money, poor in terms of what it depends of the concept of what's poor. And they were telling us so many stories that I can't possibly repeat to you here because it just blows my mind and I'm just so affected. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And in this family that we come across to them, we can cross them in the street, we can cross them in the shopping mall, we can cross them anywhere, those people. You just don't know what their conditions of living, right? And you realize when you get to cross so many people in your life, you don't know where they come from. So when somebody hurts you or answers you very roughly or meanly, or being like you don't understand where they're coming from, it's so easy for the humankind nowadays to just judge and put them aside and condemn them for what they've said this day. We don't know where they're coming from in their life, and I'm not here to say have pity on them because you don't know what they had in their life. You don't know if they're poor, you don't know if they lost their family, you don't know, right? I'm not here to tell them have pity. I'm just here to say we should grow more as a community, as a true community of humankind. Give love. Let's appreciate in each one of us. Let's stop being fearful of giving. Let's stop being fearful of being too selfish. We fear to give because we don't have enough for us. This is not how the law of the universe works. So they were telling me that most of the kids, when they come back after a couple of days, they end up wearing the same shirt. That's one of the least worst case scenarios here. The same shirt that has not been cleaned up, and often the teacher would have to say, hey, it's been a couple of days you've been wearing the same shirt, why don't you change up, do you have something else? They have to take care of what they're supposed to do in their lineage of teacher, right? Just teach. And then again, I'm not here to negotiate and talk about the problems of the educational system today, but they're supposed to be teaching their kids, right? They're not supposed to be providing outside of what their task should be, right? But because they love so much their kids and they take care of them, and for them there's a bondage that get created, and you want to take care of the well-being of those kids, right? So they're like teaching them how, like, hey, if you're wearing too many shirts, you should not, Then there's also the fact that a lot of them has problem with their teeth. They don't go necessarily to the dentist, so there's some of them loses teeth or have no teeth at all. We're talking about kids from 9 to 11 years old, guys. Kids that have already passed the age of 5 years old, who've already, on most of their paradigm and their belief system has been placed upon. You don't know what they believe in themselves. You don't know what they think what a family should be. How the kids are being treated and brought to school just defines a lot of how they're not being taken care necessarily in their home or in the family set whatsoever, right? And I'm not saying those parents are necessarily bad people. I don't know what they're going through too. It's just, I'm just stating to you what they've been noticing and what they've been witnessing. So they come to school and there's no materials. They have about $500 of budget for the materials of school, for the kids, for books, for papers, for any kind of basic materials, $500 per year. And I'm not even talking about the salary that's abusive. And I'm not here to say, hey, poor the teacher, like everyone here, we're all being abused by the system, as you must know it by now. But I'm talking about the fact that apparently, she said, one of my teachers told me, if she took everything that she paid out of her pocket from her classroom and would leave her classroom, there would be nothing left in the classroom except 2 dictionaries. I think the furniture, which would be the office of the teacher, and the little offices for each of the kids. I forgot how you call the desk, student desk. There would be nothing left, guys, because schools don't have the means. They want to care for the kids. They don't have the means. Everybody is at the throat to want to have some salary, but also give to the kids. They have shit to pay. They have things to pay. The taxes, all the freaking things coming up. So there's literally nothing more left in the hands of the kids' education directly affecting their education, right? So what she does, because it's her personal choice, she purchased a lot of stuff for the materials for the kids. She purchased stuff so they allow them to feel good in their class, so they can feel in a safe space in their class. Another story they told me as well. There's this foundation, and that's another story for another time, where we come to a place where you just don't know where the money is going in foundations, right? So there's this foundation who provides petit déjeuner, which is breakfast for kids at school, and they work with many schools, public schools, obviously, and they help those poor kids have a little meal or breakfast in the morning. But you have to pay for it, by the way. So all those people who are paying and giving out foundations for this club, they give money so they can help those kids. But those kids also have to pay. So the parents have to put them, they have to give them a subscription per year, whatever, a certain amount to pay so the kid can have a breakfast at school. Not all the parents pay for this, obviously, but those who do have what as a breakfast? Let me describe you what she told me. She has 2 pieces of biscuit. We call that Bristol. They have 1 tiny pieces of cheese that big. They have 1 apple. That's their breakfast. It may be like an apple compote, that mixed up that you can eat. That's their breakfast. That the foundation's making millions out of it. That the kids' parent not necessarily pay. So like, let's say on the class of 19, 18, there's about, she said, 8 to 9 kids that have their breakfast because they enroll themselves in this foundation service. And I'm like, okay, so what do the other kids do while they're eating? They're watching them, and they're like, yeah, they're watching them. They don't have the food. They don't have breakfast. And there's so many kids, she said, that comes and have not eaten all day. They have a freaking empty stomach. What the fucking fuck? I would understand you would talk about freaking African country or a third fucking world country. We know all the situation. We've been given all those pictures of poor little skeleton kids from Africa and freaking all those propaganda we haven't. I'm not saying it's not truth, but I'm saying all this propaganda we've been given into school. And in the meantime, I have 20 minutes away kids that goes to fucking school close to us that have nothing in their tummy and have shitty freaking breakfast. And then we pay for school. We have public schools being paid here. We pay taxes for all the services. We pay taxes so the population be more wealthy and rich and well off. And you still have this other class that's like, what the fuck is happening? You know, I'm not here to talk about pointing at the people that are not giving enough, pointing at individuals here or organization that doesn't give, or private organizations that are making the living from it. I'm talking about how broken the system is, how everything is smoke screen. So often the kids are like very sharing. They're really kind to each other. Apparently, like they ask the teacher if they could share, oh, they have an apple left. Could I share it? Because there's a rule at school that you cannot share your food because it's too dangerous because of allergies. And then in closed doors in their own classroom, they care for the kids. So the teacher's like, you know what? You have no allergy. You can share, no problem. So they help each other when there's clothes sometimes. Apparently, when they give the only little things to the kids, like let's say a piece of cloth that they don't need, it's like the biggest gold they have never seen, and the sparkles in their eyes and the thankfulness they have to, because they're still young, right? To a certain extent. So I guess there's a certain innocence. I don't know them. I've never met those kids, obviously, but there's this gratitude in their eyes for such a simple thing. And they're just so thankful to receive this piece of cloth. And then you're trying to talk with the parents and they just brush you away. They don't want to contribute. They don't want to try to work with the teacher as well. So I'm just saying this little perfect example is just showing me how I think the fall of the system and the society we live today, and it's been for a while, right? It's just being more obvious. I feel it in the energy. I feel it how people, even though it's considered with numbers a well-off country, developed country, we're so individualist, right? And it's easy to say, oh, wow, you're generous. You've given millions to this foundation, and when you have more, you're giving. But I'm talking individualistic in our daily life, right? We fear to give because we don't have enough ourselves. But that's a scarcity mindset. That's a way, and I think that's the falling of where we are in the society, because fear is our greatest enemy. And I'm talking about fear of anything: fear of being judged, fear of dying, fear of not having enough, fear of not being able to achieve your goals, fear of not having the right partner in your life, fear of simply giving because we don't have enough. Fear is poisoning not only you as an individual, but as a system, as a society, as a community. We shall wake up, guys. I think the reason we've fallen into this hole for so long, that because I'm just sometimes sitting back, I'm like, how the fuck have we been so far in this system that's been so broken that we just don't know what to do anymore, because we feel like helpless, because in order to help, let's say in this example of the school, they don't have bus schools, so they cannot bring their kids to the zoo. They've never been to the zoo. They've never been to a little outgoing little activity with the kids. Like, so they don't have buses. They don't have the means or the budget for the buses. So in order to do that, they have to file a dossier, like a file, prove that they need a bus. They have to go to the direction to ask and prove all the paperwork. Ask and prove they need it. Where can we get the budget from? And by the time you can get the budget from, you have to go ask for it and pay for the service. Simple things that make a living and a change in people's lives specifically become such a fucking huge complication and paperwork and layers of working behind in the desk and all the shit. Everything is just more complications. There's regulations, there's permits, there's you have to ask for the city if you want to make a party in your park because it doesn't belong to the neighbors, the park. It belongs to the city. It belongs to the government. And I'm not here obviously to get a rant on governments and the city work. I'm here to talk about how we let the system get the best of us. How did we lose our control? How come we've come to a point that we're helpless? You're like, well, we're paying all those taxes. They're the one who should be paying for the schools that have shortcomings. There's the one who's been paying for those poor people. Why do we pay so much taxes if they're not being provided? And then there's so many causes in the same time. I understand there's people who feel, related to the ones who are drug addicts and they want to help them get out of drugs. There's ones who wants to help for the geriatric people, meaning the older people in their centers of oldest people who wants to be taken care of. And you just get confused because you watch TV and you're like, what the fuck? Everybody needs help and everybody has a cry for help and you just don't know where to give, what to do, who to give. And there's the hospital situation as well. Then there's just so many different societal issue that's just being poured down in your face and you're just getting confused. And when you get confused to this point, you just get paralysis. And on the same time, there's a market crash that's coming. And at the same time, there's freaking the system, the financial system, as we know, might crash anytime now. So you don't know if you're going to keep your money, your bank account, your food at home, your family as a term. We've been giving so fucking much information. It's getting us confused. We get paralysis and we don't know where to give our energy, our attention into, our efforts into. We don't know anymore. We don't know where to prioritize shit. What we fall into is fear. What is our biggest fear? And what makes us more fearful just takes so much energy and focus onto those fears and those worst case scenarios. So as a community, I'm talking as a worldwide community and society, we're getting so much low in vibrations and in fearful vibrations. And what does that create in return? Scarcity. Worse scenarios happen because everybody thinks about the scenarios as a society. We become dependent of the system. We become fearful and we're like fear of our neighbor. Oh, I'm not going to leave my door unopened because they might steal us. They asking me for money or help from them. I don't believe them because I distrust the system. I've been abused so many times by foundations, by system, by people who try to hack me or make a scam that I don't believe anybody anymore. There's this distrust that's growing into us. We don't fall anymore into our intuition, into our divine love that God's provided for us. He loves us unconditionally, and we do everything conditionally. Do you see how far away we have steered away of our true nature, of what a beautiful community of giving should be? We have steered away so far. And I know where you're coming from, guys. I know it's understandable to be cautious, to be like not certain about what people say. Did they tell the truth? Do they not tell the truth? To be fearful of being hurt or being abused or being freaking taken advantage of. But that's fear. Let us stop being fearful and let us be hopeful. Hopeful for more. Hopeful that it's time to fear. And I'm not telling you that, oh, it's time to give for everyone that's asking, let us be abused, let us freaking give for everyone. I'm talking, let's start within, let's believe in the best, and the people who come to you or you hear a situation that you know you could have a power or connection to help those people just by giving without nothing in return. That's where it starts, because you give off a positive vibe. We give off a positive action. We have been screwed up so many layers of paperwork and hierarchy, and then we have to wait for this permission, to wait to this thing, to have to do a signature, to have the approval for that, to go to this thing, to go to the political party to affirm that, to make a change. We're waiting for those public services to make a change, and it's just not happening, guys. And I know, and we were talking about that during our discussion too, with so many foundation that gets is actually like screwed up too, because the one that at the head of those foundation that's been created, obviously, as you know, like all the money we're giving for those wars and those, like for example, I'm giving Ukraine because it's been happening so recently, but all of those countries we're sending money off, all those people we want to help them, you don't know where it's going. You know where your help is going to, your money is going to, your food and everything. And I understand, globally speaking, we want to help others, but it's time to look within. It's time to look and want to help in a smaller scale, because a smaller scale of help is as big of an efficiency and impact as if you would help worldwide. Energetically speaking, in your karma and as a community and love divine frequencies, it means the same. It's as huge and big. Let us start focus on helping each other directly. Where do you want to help people or situations directly? And I'm not asking to do that against your own balance, right? You have to take care of your balance. Everything is about balance. But if you have the power and the desire to help, and you think you have the means or the connections or certain resources that maybe they don't, you could, in very easy, simple efforts or tasks, you could put things great and make a change for little. Let us focus on the community. And let us not wait for our society and our system, actually, our freaking broken system, to make a change. Because they're going to take forever. Because they don't have time for your little shit problem. They have time to put money in their pockets and prove to the world in the media how good they are by showing videos and texts, and prove that they're helping with the money you're giving them, with the donations you're giving, with the taxes you're giving. They're going to prove to you how good they are and how they're helping. You don't see shit in the behind of the scenes. Let us stop waiting for them to make a change. Let us help each other as a small community, small, and then the impact goes wider and wider. We're just waiting for what? We can make change ourselves. Let us stop being hopeless, guys. Each of us has a set of gifts, a set of resources that if we all put it together and do it just for the sake of it, to help each other, for love, just for love of each other as a community, we can do so much more. Let us give without expectation of receiving something. I'm here to just share what I've experienced. For me, that was such a wake-up call of how deeply crooked and far away we have drifted apart of our true nature, of our godly purpose, of who shall we be. And I'm not even talking about poor people who have nothing. I'm even talking about people who have so much, materialistic speaking. There's so much fear, guys. When I hear them speak, they speak with scarcity, with fear. So I'm here just to challenge you to be reminded that we can make a change with little things, with little time. Time is an illusion anyway, right? You've probably seen one of my other videos. I could talk even more right now, but I'm just drained right now. Energetically speaking, it deeply affected me in my soul. What I've heard, I really did not know that a simple friend, coworker of mine, is facing this challenge, and what if she's seeing in their kids every day on a daily fucking basis. And I'm living with her and I'm working with her, and I didn't know how aggravated the situation. And that's one school among so many other schools. And that's one public school that's supposed to be paid by the government and have resources from, we're talking about. What's the solution, Macy? It's not about giving just more money. It's not about complaining about how the system broken is. It's not about waiting and feeling hopeless, because you're right, guys. It should be their responsibility, because we're giving their trust. We're giving our trust and our time and our money to the governments or the society, whatever you want to call it, where you at in the world, the one that's the organizations at head, right? And you just wonder where the freak it's coming off and how can you make the change. I understand why you feel hopeless. I understand why you feel fearful. We've been programmed to feel this way. It's time to change this shit, to wake us up. The reason why we are today and we think everything is good because every day we're going to work, every day we're filling our car with fuel, going to work, we're having fun, drinking at night, having going out, everything. But guys, it's all a house of cards. Our foundation that we think as a society is just so wobbling. There's nothing behind it. There's no pillars of trust, of divine love, of community sense in the system we live in. I'm talking the organizations I'd had, right? I'm not talking obviously in your small communities or where you're at, or maybe you're in your small communities and really helping directly, and I really praise you for that, and I'm happy. I know there's a bunch of them, and I know there's a lot of communities, and I know there's a lot of people that's giving what I'm been describing, you know? And how the system made us so difficult for us to be willing to make a change in a systemical way, you know? Because she said that, let's say she had my friend who's the teacher, she said that they have a private partnership with a certain company that provides the materials, and the teachers can have up to just $200-300 of deductions from them by paying materials, but they cannot purchase materials anywhere else than the company that's been linked with, affiliated with, because they have an entente, they have an agreement. So even though they find something cheaper somewhere else, they don't have the freedom to go anywhere else. If they want to do that and buy somewhere else because it would be cheaper, they could have more materials, they have to file the paperwork. They have to prove why what they purchase can be deducted in the salary. So much paperwork, and you are so busy taking care of the kids on your daily life. Do you really have the energy or the time or the mindset to file those paperwork so you can actually get advantage of what they're giving you as a possibility to get freaking money off, or freaking rebates, or getting some deduction from it? The system have built so much obstacles, roadblocks to get screwed up, to get tired of fighting against the system, to actually want to stand up and make a change in the system. So what do we do? What do we do at the end of the day? Even me included, even you, I'm certain, we just become hopeless. We just put our hands up and you know what? I'm not going to fight anymore. I tried, I complained, I went to the thing, I tried to email them, call them, but it's so cluttered at the fucking top that nothing moves. I don't know what's going to move, but it's just waiting for the top one to tell you, okay, now it's going to be this way. Because if you talk to one layer and tell that has to be checked, okay, well, I'm going to have to ask for my top boss to see if I can have the permission, to see if they can check. The top boss said, well, I have to ask for my upper boss to do it. So there's so many layers of hierarchy. So everything is made complicated in anything in life. I'm not even talking in education. I'm talking even in smaller scales. To make the nations. I'm even talking for maybe religious communities. I'm talking even for hospitals communities. You want to make a change, you want to provide people, you want to influence, and you just fucking you feel like, what the freak? I hit a roadblock. I hit another roadblock. It's made so you get discouraged, guys. It's made so then the society and the system we live in makes you say, hey, it's too complicated. Don't start thinking about all the stuff, my dear friend. Don't start citizen of the world to think too much out of your pay grade. Let's just think small. Just think under your pay grade. Don't think too much. It would be too much effort for you to think about that. You have so much to deal about right now. Your job, your business, your relationship, your family. My gosh, there's so much stress for you to deal with. So don't think above. It's too much for you. And with those roadblocks on top of it, and with all the stresses that's been given to us, not being given, obviously we grew into it. It's a mindset, question of mindset and shifting here as a society. We just have too much. I just feel as a society we have too much pressure on our shoulders on so many areas of our life. It's time that we come back to simplicity. What makes you feel good, happy, joyful, fulfilled? It doesn't matter the rest. It's an illusion. Being rich, being wealthy, going on vacations all the time, getting the greatest car, the greatest house, it's not gonna bring you joy and deep fulfillment. It's not gonna bring you the reason or the thing that you've been seeking all your life. It's in the simplest things. And it's in the giving, the divine giving love. I'm not asking you obviously to start an organization and be on a mission to help all the poor children that going to school here. I'm asking to start small. What do you see around you? What opportunity that you do you have to grow into a better person, a better being, but also a better member of your community also? What can you give? Not materialistically, but energetically, lovingly. What can we do individually and speak among it? And let's us share and see how powerful can we bring in our resources of contacts and communities. You know, we have this great tool, the social medias, the aspect of technology where we can connect and call each other and email each other. I'm going to finish up with that, guys, I promise. Finish up with emails and texts and calls, and we are connected to the world more than fucking ever. And then what did we do from it? We just shared more fucking news of fear, of problematics, and people have done what in result? They've been growing angry, more angry than ever, more low frequencies in the society, in the world, more fucking reason to hate each other as humankind, more reasons to hate each other in race, on color, on culture, on religions. Why don't we use this tool to connect heartfully, lovingly? And I'm certain we're actually doing it right now. I know a lot of communities. I know, you know, my friends or my coach I used to have, all the people we love. There's a lot of love here, guys. I'm just being here very affected by this negative outcome that I've been seeing just close to us, right? Like we try as a nation to help all the other countries of the world in poor country. Let's focus on our backyard, you know? Anyhow. So I'm just saying, why don't we use this community that we connected all to actually bring forward the help? You know, I'm having an idea growing right now. I asked my teacher, what would you need that would help the materials? Where are the skills you could have? And I'm starting to think, hey, I'm going to make a post or a video on my social medias asking, hey guys, if you have clothes that you just having hanging around that have been doing nothing, and if you have old foods or whatever, the food that you want to give, whatever, and if you have materials, cool materials that's hanging around and that you don't know what to do in it, and then you've been trying to sell it on marketplace forever and it doesn't work, hey, why don't let's put us together, and then with all the contacts I have, not saying they're all close to me obviously, how much can we help? You know, it's the little effort that just builds up and makes such a great effort because we work together as a community. You know, it's the same point as like, you want to be millionaire. Well, in my city where I live, we're 80,000. If every citizen gave me $1, I would be 80,000 more rich. $1 is nothing for this individual. What I'm saying is that small action, small fits comes to a big, huge impact. So anyway, it shocked me so much. I was like, a lot in my emotions, a lot in my vibrations, it just affected me, and it just made me realize all those things I just shared with you, how deeply crooked and far and driven and drifted apart we are as a society, as an individual, as an individual, how individualist we are and cautious of each other and then not. And I believe small things can happen great impacts in our life, and it just blew my mind, you know. And sometimes we say ignorance is bliss. I was just ignorant of all of this specific situation, and I know if I would go to hospital situation, because I know people who work in hospitals, they've been telling me stories, I know all those things. Let us go through the source. Let us stop looking at intermediaries and the big names. The more they're big, guys, the corporation, the foundation, I'm just leaving you a piece of advice, the more wary should be of it. Because in order for them to be that big today, they had to present to the public a good image. They had to present, politically speaking, all the proofs to get funded. They had to have plugs with other politicians and other things to get the funds to make it such a big name and be worldwide known as an organization or nationally known. Money doesn't come because of the system we live today, obviously. I'm not here also to say that money is bad at all. I'm not actually devaluing the money per se, but I'm just saying to where you have to get to be known today in the society, in the system as we know, you have to get your plugs and you have to get the tons of money as a private organization or public organization or a foundation I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm not here to turn that political, but so just be wary. Go to the start. Go to the source, guys. There's nothing more fulfilling and enjoyable to see where your help and what you're moving things forward. Go directly to those people. Let's go to the source. Speak with those people who are connecting to the source, to the end game, end goal, the end game, the end people. Those are the people. Those are our lives. Those are the children of God. Right? I love you all very much. I really hope that this mission has been carried away in a positive outcome. I hope that it helps some of you to have this wake-up call that I've had today. And on this note, I see you for another time.